Okay, good afternoon all. So myself, Professor Amol M. Jagtap. I am your instructor for the Java Programming Lab. So that is all about programming. But in today's lecture, we will see some theoretical aspects of the Java programming language. Then we will start with hands-on sessions afterwards. Yes. So I will share my screen. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So let's first introduce what is basics of Java, what is the Java team who designed the language Java. Okay, there are very history is also there, but don't go inside the history. We directly start with what is Java. Okay, so tell me one by one, who invented Java? You know, who is the inventor of Java? Yes, who is the inventor of C language?
Dennis Ritchie.
Dennis Ritchie. CPP. Strostopus. Yes, am I correct? Okay. Next. Team lead. Who is the team lead for that? James Gosselin. Okay. And which company that develops initially, that is Sun Microsystem of USA in 1995. Okay. Understood? So James Gosselin and its team. So James Gosling is the team lead for that project, and he has developed the Java language. And which company? Sun Microsystems of USA. Now Java is the product of which company? Currently, recently, 5-6 years back, that company is overtaken by another one. What is the name of that company? Yes, Oracle. Understood? So now Java is the product of Oracle. Great. Previously, there is a certification course on Java, Sun Microsystems certified course. Now it is Oracle certification course on Java. Understood the guys? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next is the design team who design and develop all these things. So that is James Gosselin, that is the team members of James Gosselin, and sometimes it is told that the James J. A. Arthur, V. Van Hove, and Andy A. This name is given to the Java, but it is not actually that case. Okay. Then, what are the different features or characteristics of Java? Before that, Java is a pure object-oriented language. Means what? Means in Java, each and everything is in the form of object and classes. Nothing is there which is not a class or the object. Everything is in the form of class and objects. So Java is called as pure object-oriented language. You know C++? Yes, C++ is pure object-oriented language.
Yes, sir.
CPP is a pure object-oriented language? No, partially object-oriented language, because there are lots of concepts in CPP which is not in the form of class and objects. For example, in C language, CPP language, data types. Okay, there is int, float, double, long. That is the basic data types. Then derived data type. All these are not in the form of objects and class. But in Java, data types are also in the form of class and objects. Each and every data type there is a class, and we have to create its instance that is called as an object of that particular data type. So that's why everything, each and everything, all the concepts in the Java are object oriented. So Java is a pure object oriented language, while C++ is called as the partial object oriented language, because there are some concepts which is not based on the object oriented concept. Okay, let's move. So what are the different features of Java? Java is a simple one, easy to learn, simplified version or improved version of C++. If you know or familiar with C++ language, it is very easy to know Java language. Okay, only some functions are different, their names are different, their actions must be same like C++. Okay, we will see all that parts. Next, small, that is whenever we write the code, it's very small program size is there, because number of lots of library code is available. If library code is huge, that is if why language is make a good language, its library is very well developed, means there is the library for each and every functionality, then that language is a only to call that functions only. Okay, that's why Python in current area, Python is very much popular due to its library, strong library. There is library for data processing, data analytics, then big data, for example, then machine learning, artificial intelligence, everything in the form of library is available in Python. We just go and call the functions, we know how the arguments are passed to that functions, and which object, from which object we have to call that particular function. So if we know all these things, okay, then it is very easy for us. And that's why if library is strong, then we have only call to that function, we don't write that whole function body. That's why it is very small in size. Great. Then familiar, yes, if we familiar with C++, then it is very easy. All the syntax is similar to C++. Something some different thing is there. I hope you understand. In C language and in C++ language, main function is a member function of any class. Yes, guys, tell me. In C language, main is the main function from where your program execution gets started. In C++ also, main is a main function from where the program get started. So tell me, main function is any member function of the class in C++?
No, sir.
No. Yes, that's why. That means in C language and also in C++, main function is not a member function of any class. If that function is not the member function of any class, then it is not a pure object oriented language. Understood why C++ is called as partially object oriented language? Because there is a object oriented concepts available in C++, but some concepts are as it is from the C language, that is procedure oriented. That's why some concepts are as procedure oriented, so it is not a pure object oriented language. C++ is called as a partial object oriented language. But Java main function is also the member function of any class. Okay, we cannot write function directly. Okay, that function must be part of or member of any class. Okay, that's why Java is a pure object oriented language. Okay, next is the object oriented concepts. Yes, Java is a object oriented. So all the object oriented concepts, like inheritance, polymorphism, runtime, compile time, polymorphism, class, object, all data encapsulation, okay, ADT, then message passing. All these object-oriented concepts are also there in the Java language. Okay, next. Java is platform independent language, or it is also called as architecture neutral language. Why? Why Java is a platform independent? Okay, so what is the meaning of that? That means we can write the code on any platform, we can compile it and run it on any other platform also. It is possible in Java language. That's why Java is called as the platform independent. Okay, that is portability. It is also called as portable. That is means Java language is a portable language. That means we have now, for example, in C++, what happens? When in C language, we have execute our .c file. Okay, so when we execute our .c file, okay, guys, I will create one first file of Java empty file. Next, then save it into particular location, C folder in Java programs folder, and give the name to the file as a hello. Okay, and click on the finish. Okay, so JCreator is a ID for Java development, program development. So this is a hello.java by default extension, like in C language .c, cpp.c plus cpp, and for Java extension is .java. This is Java's source file. Okay, I have used it for the concept clearance. So Java is platform independent. Okay, so platform independent. So first, which languages are platform dependent languages? Java is platform independent languages. So which are the languages? C, C++, the platform independent. Okay, so what is meant by platform? Here platform contains operating systems, means Linux operating system, Macintosh operating system, Windows operating system. Okay, so these are the operating systems are also called as platforms, as well as their respective compilers. Guys, we know very well familiar in C++, compilers are different. 32 bits, 64-bit compiler is there. Then JNews compiler is there. Then Turbo C++ compiler is there. Okay, ANSYS compiler is there. So these are the different compilers. This is also a part of platform. So depending on that, if we want to run dots, suppose there is a hello dot C program is there. Okay, so hello.c, when we compile it, it's hello.obj, that is object file is created. When again we can run it, then it's hello dot executable file is created. When we have this executable file, just go and click on that, it is directly executable. That means it is a runnable file is there. Okay, but if we created a hello.exe file on some platform, suppose it is Windows and ANSYS 32-bit or 64-bit compiler is there, then what happens? This exe is executed on that same platform only. But if we have changed the platform, that is Macintosh or Linux, then what happens? This hello.exe file does not get executable on that platform. So similarly, C++. In C++ also, when we compile it, its object file is created. When we run that CPP file, then its executable file .exe file is created. But which is executable file is execute on the same platform, not on the different platform. Okay, understood? Platform in the sense of compiler and the operating system, as well as some hardware. So that is platform dependent languages. But Java is a platform independent language. That means we can write the code anywhere on any system, that is Linux, Macintosh or Windows. Then we compile this Java file, suppose hello.java. When we compile that file, then its class file is created, which is in the bytecode format. So when this bytecode file we have to take, or it is called as a .class file, we can run it. If we created this file on the some Windows machine, and then we have run it into the Linux platform, then no problem, because it is already converted into bytecode format. And if bytecode format file we have to run on any platform, but there must be Java virtual machine. Okay, so Java virtual machines are different for Windows Java virtual machine is different. Mac Java virtual machine is different, and Linux Java virtual machine is different. The condition is that on that particular machine there must be JVM, that is Java virtual machine. Then any bytecode which is in the form of .class file is executable on any platform. That's why Java is called as platform independent. Write once, run anywhere. Guys, understood? Write once, run everywhere. That means any platform we have to run that our source code, because Java is platform independent. Okay, because when we compile the Java source code file, it is converted into bytecode file, and that bytecode is a intermediate language which is known to each JVM. So directly that Java's bytecode is converted into its executable format. So in Java language, there are two interpreters. In Java language, having two language translators. Okay. So first one is called as compiler, and second one is called as interpreter. Okay, guys, these are two different language translator which translate some language, suppose A language, into the another B language. So in Java, compiler translate your Java source code file into bytecode file using compiler, and interpreter translate your bytecode file into binary file or executable file. That is done by interpreter. Okay, so there is difference between interpreter and compiler also. Okay, tell me, Major, what is the main difference between that two? Yes. Okay, very good count. 65 students. Okay, tell me. What is the difference between compiler and interpreter? What do you understand by the compiler and what do you understand by the interpreter means? Yes, guys, you can understood this concept. If you have any doubt, please ask me. Anyone? What is the difference between compiler and interpreter? What happens in compiler? Compiler, suppose C language there is compiler, CPP there is compiler, but not interpreter. But in Java language there are two different language translators. First is Java's compiler and second one is Java's interpreter. It is also called as just-in-time compiler also. Okay, Java's interpreter is also called as interpreter or just-in-time compiler. Great. So first tell me difference. Compiler, what happens if there is a C source code file? Compiler translate it into the directly its binary file. But in Java, what happens? Compiler translate your source code file which is in the Java into bytecode. Okay, and its intermediate file is created. Intermediate file is created. If in your source code, that is hello.java source code file, if there is any syntactical error or grammatical error or compile time error, then that source code file does not get converted into bytecode file. It raises syntactical error. You have first go and correct that syntactical error, again save it, and then compile it again. If there is no syntactical error exists, then compiler translate your whole hello.java file into your bytecode file. Otherwise, it is not possible if there is any syntactical or grammatical error is there. But in interpreter, what happens? Interpreter takes first line, translate it, and move to the next line. Then second line, there is no syntactical grammatical error, then run it and go to the next line. If third line having the error, okay, then interpreter erase that error at the third line. But prior to third line, there are two lines which has already executed. Understood? Next difference, interpreter does not create any intermediate file. Like compiler, compiler creates the intermediate file. In Java, it is .class file. In C, CPP, it is .object file. But interpreter does not create any intermediate file. Line by line execution is there in the interpreter. If any error exists in their code at that particular line, it raises the errors. Otherwise, executions is going on. Guys, hope you understand that main differences between compiler and interpreter.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's move. So, same Java bytecode can run on any platform. That's why Java is a platform independent or architecture neutral language. It is called as architecture neutral language. Next, Java. These are the features of the Java language, compiled and interpreted. Java languages, there are both compiler and interpreter exist. Okay. Now, one thing is there. Java's compiler is written in the Java language itself. Java's compiler is written in Java language itself by the Arthur Van Hove. That is the developer name. And the interpreter is written by the James Gosselin. Okay, so there are two language translators. One is Java's compiler and that Java's compiler written itself in the Java language by the Arthur Van Hoek, while interpreter is written by the James Gosselin. Understood, guys? Next, multi-threaded. Okay, so till yes, CPP there is also multi-threading concept is exist, but your syllabus there is that not mentioned multi-threading. But multi-threading is good concept. That means simultaneously execution of the multiple tasks. Okay, so that facility is in the Java language. So we concurrently run the multiple programs at a times. Or for example, threads means till this we have only one threaded programs. That is main thread is there. So it is called as single threaded program. In Java also, all the programs are basically single threaded, but when we apply multi-threading concept there, so there are multiple threads and that multiple threads are simultaneously executed. So there is a one chapter on that multi-threading. We will see details in the multi-threading. Okay, next, Java is a robust, Java is secure, Java is distributed language. Then Java is native interface for C, C++ languages using GNI. That is Java's native interface. Okay, that means we can call the functions, existing functions from C, C++ library using Java's native interface. Okay, then high performance language is there. Java is dynamic. Then Java is more safe, secure one because Java does not provide any pointers like C, C++. That is one of the characteristics of Java. Guys, Java does not support pointers, but in C, C++, we have used the pointers to store the address of another variable of same type. Okay, for unauthorized accessing of any location, we have used pointers. Pointers are more flexible one. We know that, but Java does not support pointers. That's why, okay, Java is more safe. Okay, next, internet ready because Java has capabilities to handle TCP IP packets. Client server programming is also there. We have developed that. That is internet programming. Okay, we will see that part also. So let's move to the history of Java in brief. I think you know that story. What happens initially when James Gosling joined the Sun Microsystems, then there is more problem because this era is a electronics era. Number of different devices are developed and there must require some language to operate that devices. So what happens if the hardware platform is different, software platform is different, then same code is not working on the another platform. So this is the main drawback. That's why Sun Microsystem decided that we have to develop some language which is platform independent. Means for the temperature controlling, if there is some code is written in any language on any platform, that same code is work on the different platform or different electronics devices. So for that purpose, initially CPP is used, but there is a drawback. CPP is not a platform independent language. It is platform dependent language. That's why they first develop some language using C++. They add some libraries in the same C++ library and enhance the language and give the new name to that language as a C++, minus minus, because they are deleted some concept from initial CPP and added some concept. So it is called as C++, minus minus. Great. Then Again, it is not a platform independent language. So again, they modify this same language and they decided what to do, what we have to give the name. So they sit beside the oak tree. So it is called due to oak tree, it gives the name as a oak. So after this version, oak is a new language is arised now, but it is not uh, as per the requirement. After that, when platform independent concept is applied to this new language, oak language, then this name is changed to Java. Okay, and this Java now we have to use. So there are number of different versions available of Java. Java consists of two parts. One is the JDK, Java Development Kit. So first is the JDK, Java's Development Kit, and second one is called as Java Runtime Environment, JRE. So Java Development Kit and Java's Runtime Environment. Okay, so it consists of Java. Let's move to the different editions. So Java 2 standard editions, JDK or Java 2 standard editions. So basis on the different features, there are different editions available. So standard editions are JDK 1.2, 1. Now initially JDK 1.0 and JDK 1.1 are called as Java 1. Guys, understood? Java 1, that is JDK 1.0 and 1.1. These versions are called as Java 1. Otherwise, other platforms are called as Java 2. Java 2, either it is based on JDK 1.2 to JDK 1.70, that is the latest version, which is expected on the September 2, 2021. And now recently used version is JDK 16. Okay, it is called as Java 16 also. Hope you understand, guys. So there are different versions. So JDK 1.0 to till JDK 17. There are number of versions. Also, JDK 17 is called as the developer version because it is development kit. So it is also called as JDK 17 as a developer version, and just Java 17. Okay, it is called as the product version. Java 17 is called as a product version, or Java 17.0 is called as a product version. Yes, guys, understood? These are the different editions or versions of Java. Java comes with two parts, JDK, that is Java Development Kit, and second one is JRE, that is Java's Runtime Environment. If you want to run the code, that is bytecode, that is in the form of the .class file, then no need to write, no need to install JDK on your machine. As a developer point of view, the JDK is required. Otherwise, we don't call the functions in particular library. Okay, and if your program is ready and you want to install it on the different devices, only that devices having JRE is sufficient. That is Java's runtime environment. Good. Any doubts till this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, next. There are also 4 different platforms for the Java. First is Java SE, that is Java Standard Edition. It contains different. Okay, so these platforms having different features. That features is contained into Java SE. Java SE, Java Standard Edition. Most of time we have used this edition only because these are the sufficient features for us to develop our programming. All the packages, main packages are available in Java SE, that is Java Standard Edition. Next is Java EE, that is Enterprise Edition. Enterprise Edition contains extra topics, that is Servlet, JSP, web services, etc. Then Java's ME, that is Micro Edition, that micro platform which is mainly used to develop mobile applications. Then Java's FX, Java FX. Okay, so FX stands for special effects in visual and sounds. It is used to develop rich internet applications. It uses lightweight user interface APIs. So these library APIs are available with the Java FX. So these are different platforms and editions we have called as edition also. Now, different types of applications. Using Java, we have developed different types of application, that is desktop, standalone applications, then web applications. Yes, we have to develop web applications also, enterprise applications, mobile applications, and so on. Next, Java is an open source code source. That's why there are different IDEs exist. If you know C Sharp, okay, which is Microsoft language, programming language, so that contains its own Visual Studio IDE. But Java is an open source code language and everyone can create their own IDE. You have to create your own IDE as a mini projects also. So there are number of IDEs in the Java. So some I have listed here, that is JCreator, Microsoft VJ++, Java NetBeans, Java Maker, JBuilder, Visual Cafe, Eclipse, okay, and their respective company names. Eclipse is developed by IBM, while JCreator is developed by Inox Software, Microsoft VJ++ is developed by Microsoft, etc. Other also IDs are available, that is Dr. J, BlueJ, BlueJ Java, Zip or JIP, Gel, JEdit, Edit plus plus. Okay, so there are number of different IDs are available for the Java language, because Java is a open source language. We have created our own IDE for Java development. Great. Now, Java environment is divided into two main parts, that is Java development environment and Java runtime environment. Okay, so Java development environment. Java development environment consists of mainly Java development kit, then Java standard library. So these are the main parts of the Java development environment. Okay, now Java development kit, JDK, comes with collection of tools that are used for developing and running the Java programs. Which are that tools? So first I will explain Java or Java C, that is Java's compiler. Java C is also an application file. Java is also application file that is called as Java's interpreter. These are two tools. Using these tools, we have to compile and interpret the Java file. So Java C is called as Java's compiler and just Java is called as Java's interpreter. Okay, when you install your program JDK on your machine, okay, so just what you have to do, you have to always install latest version of Java download for Windows 10. Yes, then go to the Java's official website. From here there are different Javas. Okay, 1 minute. You can go to the Java's Oracle website. Okay, otherwise it gives you Sun Microsystems previous version. So Java Oracle, click. Okay, so there are the different download Java. Okay, start and free download. So you can, this is only JRE. So there are actually different versions are available. You can choose different version. Download JDK Java Standard Edition. So from this Java SE, that is Java's Standard Edition Development Kit 16.02, that is latest version. You can choose your Windows 64-bit or 32-bit. Okay, and download this respective JDK and install on the machine. Okay, when you install that on your machine, then it's up. Java is installed on your Java's program file. Here Java is there. So JDK, there are two versions. Previous version, my previous version is JDK 13.0.1. Currently I have installed JDK 16.0.1. So click on the JDK 16.1, then click on the bin. So there are different. Okay, this is Java, guys. Everyone sees this Java type as an application, that is executable file. So this is called as Java's interpreter, Java C. This is called as Java's compiler. Then Java doc. This is also one tool. Java doc, Java H, JDBase, Java's debugger, Java's print facility. So all these are the tools. These tools are available here. So using these tools, we can compile, run, generate doc files. Okay, so we will see that on the later sessions. So just we have overview that applet viewer is there for viewing your Java's applets. Java C is used for as a Java's compiler, Java as a Java's interpreter, Java P as Java's disassembler. Okay, so how it works, I will show you in the next lectures. So first, what are the different facts? First, you have to write your source code in any text editor. Okay, then when you compile it using Java C, Java C is Java's compiler, then its Java's class file is created. When you have again interpret it, then Java's executable file is created. This is the flow of Java's program execution. Okay, so APIs, application programming interface, JSL, that is Java's standard library or Java's programming interface. It consists of different packages. Guys, these are the some packages I have listed. There are also number of packages available in Java and Java X. X means extended versions. So first most important, that is Java's lang package, then utility package java.util. These are all built-in packages present in your Java standard library. IO package, that is Java IO, network package, AWT package, applet, database, remote method invocation, that is RMI, swing package is there, math package is there, security package is also there. So Java's runtime environment. When you install Java's runtime environment, it creates two folders. First is the bin that contains all DLL files for dynamic link library, and lib library that is contains jar files for deployment. So we will see that part also. Next one. Next, Java's virtual machine. Java's virtual machine is an imaginary machine that is implemented by emulating it in the software on a real machine. So it is a platform independent. JVM is a platform independent. Okay. So JVM, what it Okay, so what is the process of compilation? We have already seen. Java program, when we compile it, its class file is created, that is, which is in the form of bytecode. When you interpret it, that's converted into machine code, that is real machine code. Okay, so these are all is the only basic information as well as theoretical aspects. Now we will see our first program, how to write, how to print hello student on the console. So similar to other languages like C, C++, what we have to do, we have to write any main function inside a class. It's compulsory. If you don't write the class name, it gives the syntactical error. Before main function, we have to write public static void main. Then that main function as a one argument is required, that is the array of string. So string args, and then to display the data on the console, println method is there. Print means printing output on the console. Ln stands for next line or new line, so one line is printed afterwards, that is similar to /n. Okay, print and println, both functions are available in Java. Okay, these functions are in which class? System. And using println function is a method of some another class. Okay, I will show that also how it works. System.out.println, here system is the name of the class, out is the name of the object, and println, this is name of the function. So println function is called by using system dot out. Why system? Because that is a static object. Out is a static object, that's why it is called by its class name. I will show you the source code also, there is open source code, so I will show all this, so don't bother about that. First, understood, whenever you want to print anything on the console, then what statement is we have to use? System.out.println. Okay, and in double quotes you can write your own message. So I will just copy this code. Click static void main string args, then always double quotes. So this is different, so write double quotes here and save it.